Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rosano, and you are listening to another episode of the world famous, the University Love, the best podcast in one, two, three galaxies. But, ladies and gentlemen, you and I would just call this show Online Marketing Moves. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to you live today. It is July the 6th, 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be doing this on a regular basis. I promise you that. People, have you been in contact? If you've reached out to me about being on the show, we will get back to you in the next week or two. Life has been a little hectic. My daughter, I tell you what, ladies and gents, my youngest daughter, my daughter who's 2 months old, she loves to sleep on top of you. So me and my wife have been in a constant rotation ever since she came home. For the last 6 weeks, me and my wife, we've been I'm on the 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. shift or something like that. My wife's we're on the rotation. And I think yesterday's one of the few times I was talking to my wife and we were sitting there and I said, we haven't spent a lot of alone time, but we are solid as a rock, ladies and gentlemen. That is the best thing about being married, being happily married is, yeah, you know, it's going to be some time that you're not going to be able to spend with each other between the working and the raising the children, but you gotta make it work. You gotta make it do what it do, ladies and gentlemen. Um, I've been driving. I've been driving. I tell you what, yesterday we got some bad news. I tweaked my back. I tell you what, I said, "Yeesh, you gotta stay healthy." My problem was last week. I was doing a lot of twisting and turning with the baby, trying to feed the baby while driving down the road. And me and my wife, she was coming to pick me up a couple of days last week. So my daughter would get in the car. My daughter would be not. My daughter would be in the car, and she would be having a complete meltdown. And you gotta give them the milk. And so we would give her the milk. I'm turning around, and I'm like, ah, my back. So I'm telling my wife, I was like, this ain't good. Then eventually yesterday, I tried to bend down, and I said, ooh, I feel a sharp pain, and I stopped. I said, because I made that mistake once, and of course, it's always the lower part. It's always gonna be my tailbone. One day I got to stop all this driving, and then my tailbone eventually will be um will be healed. We will make all that work. But it is what it is. Man, you know what? You know what I wanted to address to the crowd today, to the audience, to the fandom of the people of online marketing moves. What I want to stress is, because this is something that you know, I I I I highly suggest is whenever you want to do something, let's say you want to reach out to 1,000 people, don't just reach out to one person, reach out to 1,000 people, reach out to 10,000 people, reach out to all the people that you can. Okay. Never sell yourself short. Never. It's like the whole thing about, yeah, if you ever, I remember when I was um in the Navy, I was a young man. And, there you would be trying to get girls' phone numbers, okay? And so I remember my brother would always say, "Hey, why talk to one when you can talk to 1,000, okay?" He said, if you ask 100 girls out, one is gonna say yes. And I know, a lot of times we think, oh man, rejection, rejection, rejection. But ladies and gentlemen, if you want to really get to where you want to go, you really want to become the superstar, because at the end of the day, to sell anything, to sell yourself, sell your podcast, sell your content, sell your CDs, sell your DVDs, sell your perfume, sell anything. You got to get in front of people. You got to get in front of an audience. You got to build up an audience, and you got to sell them. And then we all know, everybody knows, everybody's not going to buy everything that you put out. But ladies and gentlemen, if you talk to enough people, you sell to enough people, you tell enough people, they will buy. What's that book? I mean, it's the saying that Zig Ziglar had, skinny. s what do you say? Timid salesmen have skinny kids. That's it. And so, you know, um, as I was talking to my daughter the other day, and my daughter said, "Man, man, Daddy, I'm trying to go to Disney World." I said, "Disney World? What is she talking about?" And yesterday she said, "Daddy, when you gonna take me to New York?" And I said, "New York?" I said, "Hey, home girl, what's going on back here? Who you been talking to? You been talking to your mama? Why you want to go to all these places?" And I thought to myself, I would like to accommodate my child because I know when I was growing up, me and my parents, we went to quite a few places. We went to the grocery store, we went to the park, we went home, we went outside, we ran around the corner, we went up the street. But did we leave the state of Missouri? Not that much, okay? And so it's just a different time we live in. And now that my daughter's gonna start kindergarten, and I was looking at the schedule. There's a lot of every other month she has like a week off, which I find odd. I find that to be, it's an annoyance, but it gives us a chance to do some family bonding. It gives me and my wife, because my wife works at home. She does not have, a typical job, so she has time. My daughter will have time, and old daddy will has to make time so we can go out and about and we can enjoy ourselves because this the timid salesman has skinny kids. The timid salesman does not take all the chips he wants. Okay, and at the end of the day, that's what I want. That's what I want to do. Take my child here and there, not everywhere, but take my child to enough places so that way one day she's sitting in the therapist's office. She won't say, "My daddy shunned me. My daddy never took me nowhere." Okay, I don't want to be a part of her. Um, I'm only kidding about that part, but no, it's not even about taking people on trips. It's not even about doing all that. Sometimes, listen, you just want to be able to provide. You want to be able to not have to worry. The biggest stress in life is, biggest stresses in life sometimes is financial. If you can duck and dodge that, like I told you before, create a system so that way you can always have money flowing in. That's great. That's wonderful. But it's also to do things like be able to use your credit card one month, come back next month and pay your credit card. You spend $2,000 on a trip, you come back the next month, you're able to take the 2,000 out of your bank and go bloop. There it is. That's it. That's what you want, That's why we're all here. That's why we all listen to this program. This is why we all listen to things because, take it from me, somebody who's worked, since I was, 17, 18, work, just trading time for money, trading time for money, trading time for money. At some point, that gets old. We all know that. And so we are here to help you out and what you can do. It doesn't matter. As I was, thinking I told you a couple weeks ago, I watched the Kenny G special. Kenny G was selling CDs at his concert. I was, you know, I bumped that Noah Jones. I bumped that Noah Jones heavy. I got like 5 or 6, 7, 8 CDs of Noah Jones. Physical CDs. And Noah Jones was like, "Hey, get on my email list." I would. She's like, "Hey, man, buy my CD." I'd buy her CD. I'm not gonna go buy a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not gonna go to a concert, but I will support. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is the thing. Put yourself out there. Doesn't matter. The celebrity. The term celebrity is skewed these days. Okay, you can be a celebrity for any kind of reason. You can be a socialite. You can go viral. You can be a content creator, you can be a musician, you could be an athlete, doesn't matter. You could, I mean, Kim Kardashian was on one sex tape and now she's like a gazillionaire. So, I mean, it's wide open. The space is wide open. Um, this is why my friend, we got to talking about this stupid show called Love Island. Why do people want to be on Love Island? It's not for dating purposes. It's so they can be famous. Okay, so the more famous you are, the better of the pool. These people probably think they can get. Oh, if I'm on Love Island, I can start dating George Clooney or somebody like that. It's not the guy that's on the TV show. They're not looking for love. All these people live in like L.A., New York. All the people that live in LA, you can't find somebody. All the people that live in New York, you can't find anybody. No, it's a bunch of BS. They want to be famous. That's it. Everybody wants to be famous. Why? Because being famous leads you to easier. It's an easier road to hold to be famous and to be able to sell a product than just be a person like me and you who might not be as famous, but we have a story, we have something to sell, we have something to tell. But ladies and gentlemen, what I can tell you is no matter what, talk to 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 20,000 people, 30,000 people. Talk to all the people in the world that you can to whatever product you're selling, whether you're multi-level marketing, whether you're selling a service, whether you're selling a business. Talk to anybody, everybody. Leave no rock unturned. Okay, the more you talk, the more you present, the more you get better at it. You get easy at it. The better you get, the more known you get, and then the easier that becomes. The bigger the email list, the easier it can get. It's the same old stuff you hear, but you gotta keep repeating it yourself. You gotta keep telling yourself the same thing, all right? You gotta keep going. You gotta keep going. You gotta keep telling yourself this. Why? Because sometimes we lose our confidence. The best thing you can have is confidence. The worst thing you can not have is confidence. Everything else is a skill that you can gain, you can learn. But without confidence, ladies and gentlemen, you will go nowhere. Okay? But ladies and gentlemen, remember, timid salesman have skinny kids, timid salesmen, have no vacation time, timid salesmen, all they do is complain, work like a dog, work like a dog, work like a dog, and they get nowhere. You just swimming upstream all your life. Do you want that? Of course you don't. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We'll be back tomorrow with all new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Zano. Thank you for listening. God bless each and every one of you. As always, everybody, peace.